Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever heard the story of Top Hat Gaming Man the Wise? It's not a story an American YouTuber would tell you about, but of course I will have to do so myself. I, ladies and gentlemen, am the Top Hat Gaming Man, the creator of Richard, a character I have recently been playing on this channel in an attempt to come across a little bit more sympathetic, to try and get the people on my side. However, I'm a little bit bored of that now, and I'm bored of playing that boring Richard character, so instead it's all back to me, the Top Hat Gaming Man, and in today's video we are going to be discussing the Nintendo Wii and whether or not it was a bigger failure than the Nintendo Wii U. Now you may be thinking straight away, no, Top Hat Gaming Man, this sounds absolutely preposterous. The Wii sold really well, and the Wii U sold absolutely terrible for a Nintendo games console. Every major console in Nintendo's history sold much better than the Wii U, and the Wii actually did better than all of them, so you're talking out of your bum. But no, I have got a great argument to go alongside this. So, here we go. The Nintendo Wii, as we all know, it was extremely popular. It sold in abundance. Everyone, for a short while, wanted to own one. Nintendo had started appealing to demographics which no gaming company previously had ever done before. Going back to 2006 to 2007, the Nintendo Wii was a hot property over Christmas. It was the must-have Christmas gift at one point in time. In fact, they drew all sorts of new audiences into gaming. For example, the geriatrics, the people at the time who were coming to the end of their life, and they were never interested in modern mumbo jumbo like gaming. They were more interested in the more simple things in life, such as sitting in their care homes and watching the radio, I suppose. You know, that's the sort of thing old people get up to, as far as I'm aware. So from there, their life changed a little bit. They got Nintendo Wiis, and I believe like mums and stuff like that, like 40-year-old mums in 2006 got Nintendo Wiis in an attempt to lose some weight by using things like Wii Fit and stuff like that. Wii Fit, Wii Play and Wii Sport. Those were the three main Wii games that appeared to be played way bloody more than any other titles on the system. Thinking about it, the majority of people who got a Wii got them over Christmas, didn't they, as novelty gifts. The majority of people, they had a little go on Wii Play and Wii Sports at Christmas. It was like, ooh, look at this. This is really funny. We've got motion controls. Ha ha ha. This is new and interesting. Quick, husband, come in here. Have a look at this funny device. It's a Nintendo Wii. Look, I'm playing tennis. Look, I'm bowling. That sort of thing. It was novelty. People were astounded by, like I said, the novelty factor of this little device. People were loving it at the time. However, that was it really. It was a novelty device, and that's about as far as it went. It's kind of like a Christmas cracker where you pull the cracker and it makes like pop, nice fun noise, and then you read the joke in it, and then you go, oh. That's kind of how the Nintendo Wii was to the majority of people who bought one. It was great. You got the first pull of the cracker, where you switched the system on, you read the joke, and then you was just a little bit, that was funny in a way, fun in a way, but I don't think I'm going to turn it on again, because I'd rather just watch Countdown next time I want some entertainment, or The Last of the Summer Wines. That tickles my taste buds a little bit more. So the majority of Nintendo Wiis, they just sat underneath televisions and gathered dust for the rest of their life cycle and ended up in lofts, and it's the reason why you can procure the system today for only £5, because so many people had them, yet nobody wants them. So it wasn't just the old people who got bored with these devices very quick. The non-gamers weren't the only ones who were bored. Sadly, the actual gamers got turned off by the Wii itself as well, because it never offered any of the bells and whistles in which traditional gamers wanted from their hardware at the time. Like, it was released in 2006, like over a year after the Xbox 360. So the Xbox 360
had a head start over the Wii, yet the Wii was released and it could do far less. That's embarrassing really, isn't it? Like, how can you release a games console in 2006 and not include HDMI? Everyone had HDMI HD televisions by that point, yet the Wii for some reason was still a basic red, yellow, white malarkey, wasn't it, plugged into the side of a television? We were past that point and we'd gone into the HD realm, so many gamers were annoyed by that. Another reason people were annoyed was the over-reliance on motion controls. Most of the games that were being released on the system were just jam-packed full of gimmicks and different ways you could use the motion controller. And the other annoying thing about many games were often you get games and they shouldn't be motion control, but they would throw a load of motion control functions into it just for the sake of it, because it's on the Nintendo Wii, and they made the assumption that everyone wants to waggle these bloody Wiimotes around everywhere. Like perfect examples, what was it called? Twilight Princess for the GameCube, which also came out on the Wii, I believe, 3 weeks before. It was full of motion controls. The game didn't need motion controls, and if you play the GameCube version of the same game, it's far superior. It's a much better gaming experience without the motion controls. And you was forced to use the motion controls on the Wii. Even though the game was developed to not use motion controls, they never made a mode on the Wii version where you got to turn the motion controls off. They were completely forced on you and there was nothing you could do about it. So there was no point within that game, if you played it on the Wii, that you could simply sit down, mong out and relax playing the game. Not going to happen. You've got to be on your toes because you always got to waggle this, waggle that. Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2. Probably the two greatest 3D Mario games of all time. In fact, they might just be the best damn Mario games ever made in general anyway. But there were still points in it where you had to turn your Wiimote around and look for those little star bits and all that using the remote. All of those features were generally annoying and they was a hindrance to the gaming experience. We never actually needed them, and that's without even talking about all the games which were just purely based on motion controls. We're talking about the traditional franchises which motion controls got tacked onto just for the sake of it, and that really did annoy a lot of long-term Nintendo fans. So the Nintendo Wii, it was upsetting a lot of Nintendo's core audience, and outside of that as well, the new audience it had just introduced into gaming, that was far worse than alienating the existing market, because they just created this huge new market, and instantly through the game's novelty factor and offering nothing more than a simple novelty, they put most of those people off gaming forever. All you have to do is look at the Nintendo Wii's sales. The system sold absolutely terribly, and personally I think the biggest factor into all of that was purely down to the fact that people were so disappointed with the Wii that they simply didn't want to risk picking up the Nintendo Wii U. They didn't want more of those motion controls for hardcore gamers, or core gamers I suppose would be more of a term. And like I said, the new market, they're not going to touch the Wii U. They tried gaming and it was a bit rubbish really, wasn't it? Fun for a day over Christmas. So the Wii U, yes, it failed in terms of sales, but I don't actually put that down to the Wii U itself. Sure, there was a few silly things, such as the name, Wii U. Doesn't really sound like much of a console, does it? It sounds kind of like a peripheral for the Wii, but again, there lies more of the problem, doesn't it? Putting the name Wii in the system's name Wii U when no one really liked the Wii by that point anyway. It was a system that was very, very popular for a very short time. And then after that, it was just a gimmick which people tired of very quickly, which is sad really, because the Wii overall, it does have a good library of games to enjoy, but it's just overshadowed by the over-reliance on motion control. And I would believe that a lot of core traditional gamers who jumped straight for the 360 and PlayStation 3 probably never even tried most of the good Wii games, like Xenoblade Chronicles, for example. That really is one of the best games I have played, full stop. Perhaps the greatest JRPG of all time. Like, if you play that game, you know what I'm talking about. It's probably better than the likes of Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, Chrono Trigger. It's top tier JRPG. And do you know what's best about that game as well? Absolutely zero motion controls. It doesn't force any on you. In fact, it makes you wonder why it was on the Wii whatsoever. Actually, no, that's a silly comment, because I believe Monolith Soft are actually owned by Nintendo or something along those lines. So Nintendo had no better hardware to put the bloody poor game on. at the time. So there are classics to be found amongst all the tripe on that system and shovelware. But like I said, it's the Wii which put people off the Wii U. And I strongly believe that. It put people off the name of the platform and people weren't interested in more gimmicky crap. And you know what's quite amusing actually, because I've done research into this. The Wii U was actually made in an attempt to get the more traditional gamers back into Nintendo products. For example, it did come with a HDMI slot in the back of it. At the time it was pretty impressive. Like, you had the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and the Wii U probably had an edge in terms of what it could do, in terms of graphical capabilities. Sure, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came along pretty quickly afterwards and crushed it in terms of performance, but at that point we'd already pretty much maxed out on how good graphics were going to get anyway, in my opinion. So the Wii U library, it's very, very strong. It's really, really good. And most people never bothered with it simply for their loathing with regards to the Nintendo Wii. And if you want more proof of how great the Wii U was in comparison to the Wii, all you've got to look at the Nintendo Switch today. The majority of that system's library in terms of the big games are literally ports straight over from the Wii U. And now everybody bloody loves those games and people love Nintendo once again. And that's down to the Wii U's library, really, when you think about it. What's it called? Breath of the Wild. That may have been released on the Nintendo Switch, but it was developed for the Wii U. So in the year 2016, the Game of the Year was a Wii U game. So that says it all, really, doesn't it? Mario Kart 8, another Wii U game that ended up on the Switch and now it's played to death. The list goes on and on. Toad's Treasure Tracker. They've just released new Super Mario Brothers U for the Switch, which is the most contrived name ever. The list just goes on and on of Wii U ports over to the Switch because, like I said, the Wii U is a fantastic library. Donkey Kong Country Tropic Freeze, another one. Hyrule Warriors. It just goes on and on and on and on. Pokken Tournament. Great system, great library. So, it does make you wonder, really, doesn't it? If there was no Wii, would the Wii U have perhaps sold better if it just had a different name what was nothing to do with the Wii? Because, like I said, people were soured on the Wii by that point. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments section if you think I am on point tonight or whether you think I am talking absolute tripe. Do you too feel that people's loathing for the Wii was the primary reason nobody wanted a Wii U? Because the Wii done a lot of damage to Nintendo's market. They alienated the traditional gamers and they introduced a plethora of new gamers from different demographics only to permanently put them off gaming forever. Let me know in the comments section, ladies and gentlemen. Join the conversation. Ooh, I nearly coughed there. Just managed to stop myself. Cheerio!